Boxing King Media in association with Boxro. A guest that I've always actually wanted to interview you. I think it's been about 7 years since the first time I saw you online, and I thought to myself, if I ever do this, I've got to interview you. So it's took us 8-9 years, but we're finally here. Prince Patel.
It's good to meet you, but you forgot the AKA, the leader of length, the general of girth, and the mountain of mass.
See, a lot of fans will hear you say that, but they'll want you to break it down. So when you say leader of girth and whatever else you said there, explain that.
It's meant in its literal form. It's literal form, you know. You can ask the aunties out there. Forgot to add that in as well. AKA your auntie's favourite athlete, and ask the aunties.
Ask the aunties. Prince, I just think it's been a while since you've done an interview, but I was looking online. You don't do many interviews, obviously. You've got your own YouTube channel. I'm going to shout out your YouTube channel, just for the fans who might want to watch you regular.
It's Prince Patel TV. Obviously, make sure you subscribe to it, and I'm sure you and your partners will enjoy watching it.
Because you don't hold back. You've only ever really spoken to IFL. A lot of the interviews of yours I've seen. Why is that?
To be honest, everyone seems to think I'm like a fame-hungry sort of guy. But if you actually look at my career and you look at what I've done, I've gone to obscurity. I've gone around the world. I've fought on shows where people don't really, they don't even have TV on them. It's like minimal crowds, and I'm just usually training hard. And that's the reason why I don't really do interviews. I'm locked away in an undisclosed destination, and I'm just grafting, putting the work in.
Interesting. So, obviously, you've not fought since last December, I think it is, 17th of December last year. You fought 27th.
Literally 365 days ago.
That's a long time. It's good to see that you're still clearly in shape. We're going to get to that because I know you've got a fight date coming up. But in the last 12 months, what have you been doing? Because obviously most British fans are aware that you moved to South Africa. You was fighting like every other week.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I was just like every pro at the start of my career when I obviously split up with Frank Warren and I was going my own path and stuff. I was just building my record up, slowly up in the opposition. Ended up in the opposition, beating better people. Had a world title fight for the IBO, lost on points, definitely not a close fight. But yeah, I lost on points.
I was going to pull you up on that.
I don't know what I was saying there, but no, I lost on points fairly to the better man. I've come down in weight since then and picked up a Commonwealth title, become the first Indian in the history of boxing to do that. Since then, I've come down in weight again, and that's what my next fight's going to be at flyweight. You're going to ask why I keep going down in weight. I'm trying to push for the Sonny Edwards fight. He holds the IBF world title. I've always said it. I want a British domestic world title fight, and I believe there's no bigger fight in the lower weights, whether you're talking at Superfly or Bantam, than me and Sonny Edwards. I personally believe.
I knew you'd bring up Sonny. I'm going to come to Sonny, but I just want to get the fans to know what have you been doing over the last 12 months. Obviously, you've been in the UK, so what is normal life like in the day of Prince Patel?
It's just, early part of the year I was trying to sign with someone to come back to the UK. Some of it was alright, some of it didn't really materialise to anything, and if it doesn't suit me, I'm not just going to jump into something that doesn't really make sense for me. So I sat back, had to regroup, was thinking about what I was going to do. I actually, around about July time, took a bit of time off boxing as well. I just mentally wasn't really there, didn't really want to go to the gym. I just felt like I was lost. Started going back to the gym around about September time, getting back in shape. I didn't really blow up in weight or anything. My weight was all controlled. And just start speaking to some small hall promoters and managed to fix a date on December 17th.
Wicked. And obviously you're 29, at that time people normally are settled, got family, kids and stuff like that. I know you keep your life private, but I'm going to ask you anyway, is there a Mrs. Patel somewhere?
There could be. There could very well be.
Is there any mini Prince Patels anywhere?
There could very well be as well. I've been sowing my royal oats around the world globally. There are some lucky girls out there who can maybe say they're lucky to have some of the great ones, genetics.
So we could see loads of little Prince Patels in South Africa, London, everywhere, all over the place. So obviously you've managed to secure your date. Let's just talk about that. What show is that on, and how did you come about sorting that out?
When the bigger promoters weren't really showing what I wanted. Obviously, I either retire or I go on a smaller show. I didn't want to go abroad again. I've done that. I've completed that. I'm bored of that. I want to cement myself now in the UK. So I was speaking to some smaller promoters. The only promoter that really was sticking to what he was saying was Mervyn Turner from Shamrock Boxing. He got the venue, sorted it all out, and show's happening, and I can't wait to perform.
You know, talking of that point, obviously fighting on big TV promotions. I remember the time you fought in, was it Saudi? Yeah. So obviously I tuned in, especially, I can't remember where I was, but I tuned in to watch your fight because I thought to myself, I've been watching this guy's career because obviously the way you come across on YouTube, etc. I want to see what he was going to do. So you know the opportunities you've had with the big promoters. Do you think you've kind of justified the skills that you've got? Because obviously you can actually fight. You're a good fighter.
Okay, the Saudi Arabia one, obviously not, because obviously I lost comfortably on points. Didn't really offer much, didn't show much, didn't do anything really. But that's at the wrong weight, I think. I think, you know, at bantamweight, fighting guys who were coming down from way higher in weight. I wasn't coming down from as high as them guys. But now I'm 2 weights below that. Like, how many guys can really say, you know what, I was boxing at heavyweight, now I'm a light heavyweight? Not many guys can really say they dropped down 2 weights and now they're trying to push on for world titles.
To be fair, the weight drop from heavyweight to light heavyweight is massive.
It's a girthy drop, but it's still 2 divisions. So I just feel like at flyweight there will be something completely different shown. I believe personally, if you look at my record, there's a large knockout ratio. You don't really get that in the lower weights unless you're dealing with the very, very top. I am at the very, very top, and I can't wait to show that to people.
Definitely. And you know, talking of your belt collection, because I was looking at one of the fights on Box Trek and the list was so long. Just explain to me, who paid all the sanctioning fees for that?
We wanted to have, basically what it was we wanted to have the biggest fight in Africa that wasn't a world title fight, and we believed that was the biggest fight in Africa that wasn't a world title fight. It was in Ghana, actually. It was in one of Ghana's richest neighborhoods in East Legon. Some very famous people were there. Azuma Nelson was there. He actually walked me out that day. Azuma Nelson did, which was an honor. He then told me after the fight that he sees a lot of greatness within me, and hopefully I can prove him right and win a world title.
Did you stop him? Was it round 8, 9, something like that?
Round nine.
So this is crazy now. So again, we've never met, but I've followed your career. I watched that on a Facebook stream.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're a hardcore boxing person. You're tuning in. Like, there are a lot of people within boxing who would love to see me. I believe there's a show on today, just happening just over there in Wembley. It's Dillian White's undercard. Dillian White's fight. Dillian White's card and fight undercard. I believe personally, if you attach my name to that, there'll be a lot more people tuning in.
You definitely bring something different to the table, but obviously you got to make contracts and make deals with promoters. Why is that not happened for you? Because sometimes, obviously, are you the problem? Is it the promoters? Is there something in the middle?
I'm happy to work with anyone, to be honest. As long as you're a TV promoter, you can back up what you're saying. You're willing to, whatever you say in meetings has to be in a contract. As long as that can be done, I'm happy to work with you guys. But to be honest, I haven't even announced who I'm fighting for my next fight. I haven't said what titles it's going to be for. I haven't said who it's against, what sort of record the person has. The person could have 100 losses and no wins. But I'm still going to prove to people that you attach my name to a bill in the UK and there'll be bums on seats. Maybe not necessarily on seats because they might be jumping up and down when they're seeing the big shots land, but there'll be people turning up in their numbers.
And the career path, obviously, this is your comeback fight, and you mentioned Sonny Edwards earlier on, and I know he's now allowed to have voluntary defence. So, and Sam Jones in the past, to be fair, has told me that he'd like Sonny to fight yourself. So, how realistic is that? Have you spoken to anyone at Probellum, or has any moves been made?
No movements at all. I've always made it vocal that I want to fight Sonny. Sonny's made it vocal that he either wants to fight Martinez or Bam next. And then after that, if that can't materialise, he's talking about moving up. There's never, if I can't get that 2 fights, I'll fight Prince Patel. Which, let's face it, I know you could say, well, unified sounds bigger than the Prince Patel fight, but what's he going to do in a Martinez build-up? How are people going to put bums on seats? No one is interested in seeing a flyweight unification. No one's interested in seeing a Spanish guy who can't speak English and an English guy who looks the way Sonny looks. Like, it's not really aesthetically pleasing to the camera. Cameras are scared of Sonny's face. Sonny's hair was scared of his face, and that's why it's pushed back over there. So obviously, But Sonny's movie star though. When you think about it, he starred in Lord of the Rings. I've never starred in Lord of the Rings. He starred in Lord of the Rings. So, you know, got Sonny credit. He's IBF champion. I actually think Daryl People should look at Sonny Edwards and think to himself, does he really want Gollum holding the IBF world title? Because it's not a real good look for their brand. It's not really good look for their organisation, I think. So maybe Daryl needs to make that fight a mandatory. And I can just knock him out and I could be the champion, you know, be the first Indian to win a world title. And it'll be good.
Talking to Sonny, what did you think of his last performance? Obviously, he was fighting a guy that moved up from light flyweight with a high knockout percentage.
I didn't actually watch the fight, but people told me that. Well, one person told me he was winning comfortably. Another person, when I was reading some of the tweets, was saying I think it was Rob Tulett. I was reading his tweets. They were saying that he was fading as the fight was going on. Like he looks like he struggles to make the weight, maybe struggling in the later rounds due to that. Alvarado is a smaller guy than me. Alvarado's never fought at bantams, super bantams and stuff like that. I have. Alvarado is a big punch-up, but that's for the smaller guys. You stick me in with light flyweights, they get knocked out just like I have been doing at Superfly and bantam.
Interesting. It's one thing I should have asked you earlier, but I had it written down. You know, obviously, when you went away to obviously build your record and fight, I remember watching one of your fights in, I might have been Hungary. It was the most craziest fight I've ever seen. Just explain to me, because obviously you must have seen the comments online, people saying it was fixed, etc. Explain how them fights get made.
Basically, I turned up. I actually, just turned up and the guy was rubbish. There's not much I can really do about that. I'm just a fighting man. I fight who's put in front of me. And but this is the thing, people need to understand this. I have no promotional backing. I have no managerial backing. It's literally just me ringing up a promoter on a show board or whatever, and I'm just turning up. And if that's what they had to offer, then I can't really say anything in regards to that. That's why ever since, if you actually look at my record, as soon as I fought for the WBO European, everyone after, apart from 2 guys, had winning records. And the only reason my 2 guys didn't have winning records was because I just couldn't raise the funds to find guys with better records. So I just had to fight 2 guys who had not so good records. But I still knocked them both out. One of them was a former Lewis Ritson opponent. I knocked him out in 1 round. Lewis Ritson's going points with him. So that's got to tell you something.
Definitely. And just concluding a bit now, Prince, obviously you've been quite nice is probably the word to use, because I didn't know what to expect today, because I was seeing the way your interviews have gone with Coogan in the past, where he's, you know, it's unfolded into him threatening to cave your head in and all sorts of stuff's happening post interviews. Have you kind of reflected on how you've been in the past and kind of changed the way you are, or are you still the same?
I believe I've always been like the same person, but it's just sometimes it comes across it in a certain way and some people don't like that. Obviously you've got guys at home now who can be watching this video, they're going to obviously slate me off, but let's face it, like the people who are slating me off, I guarantee you if you showed this video to your partner, they'd rather have me with them than you. Like, that's what I'm saying, you're smiling, everyone else here smiling, they obviously know it's the truth, but I don't know, like it's just, there's a lot of hate out there. Like, it's like, I don't know, in movies, like you get good looking girls, they get hated on by ugly girls. Same thing in boys, like ugly guys see a good looking guy, they see the jawline, the cheekbones, the straight white teeth, and you know, they get jealous, they feel inferior. And when a guy feels inferior, he just has to hate.
Okay, and the last thing I wanted to mention was that I had this crazy idea. I thought, can you imagine if I got you, Tyan Booth and Sonny Edwards around the table, 3 people, all 3 hate each other?
To be honest, I don't actually think Tyan hates me though. If you actually look at Tyan, some of his stuff is kind of similar to what I say. I think both of us dislike Sonny. Just basically both of us dislike Sonny. But forget Sonny, let's talk about my next fight that's happening December 17th. I'm guarantee it to be, my fighting style is exactly like my style in the bedroom. It's a very fast paced, wall-to-wall action, and it can end at any minute.
And when are you going to announce your opponent?
I'm not going to announce it unless it's like somehow slides on BoxRec, but I'm not going to announce it. The whole idea of this is to prove to your Sky Sports, your DAZNs, your BT Sports that you stick Prince Patel's name on it, and you're going to see people with Indian flags in the venue, not just people, multiple people, hundreds of people, and you're going to see a lot of people at the venues. So it doesn't matter if I'm fighting someone with 100 losses and 0 wins, and who's been knocked out 99 times. Numbers will turn up.
Prince, it's been a pleasure to speak to you for the first time. Is there anything else you want to add or say before I let you go?
I will be the first Indian world champion. I already done it with the Commonwealth, and I will do it with the world title.
Prince Patel, thank you so much.